Returned once again to actually do our stream of Golden Kamuy, the manga series. We're good to go, good to go, good to go. So yes, we have returned, actually covered chapters 204 up to 207, the most current chapter out as of yesterday, I believe. And yeah, I completely forgot I didn't catch up on 204. I thought I actually did 204, so now I would do 205 to 7 when I get back from Spain. But I was wrong. I actually didn't cover 204. Completely just completely just like, I don't know what the word is, but just didn't realize that chapter was there. I must have left on that chapter. I must have, maybe, who knows? I don't know. At this point, my brain is so scattered right now. I actually have literally no memory of anything but before Spain. So yeah, I mean, we left off last time. I actually kind of got to know what Sophia's kind of end goal in a way is, actually kind of what she wants to do, because again, we always kind of wondered what her end goal would be in theory, because we probably know it might in theory be kind of bringing back and possibly also bringing to light what's kind of ambitions, and actually kind of get a little bit more of that, and also kind of in a way ended the Russia arc as well. And I mean, Vasali was kind of adorable as well. It's just, I love how originally he was a scary sniper, and then he's just a complete, like, I don't. He's just kind of adorable. He's cute. He's cute. But anyway, it's actually fun to actually go live. So, go live for chapters 204 to 207 of Golden Kamuy. I also believe since we've last streamed, they announced season 3 of Golden Kamuy as well. I believe. Or did I stream when they announced it as well? I can't remember. Possibly one of the two. If I haven't, season 3's been announced. If I have, season 3's still been announced, boys. Right, we're good to go on that front. Are we on this front? We certainly are as well. So let's actually begin chapter 204. So, we received a telegram saying that Lieutenant Surumi has business to attend to at the hot springs in Noribetsu. Once it's finished, he'll come to meet us in Karafuto. The Lieutenant will be arriving in Odomari in 2 weeks, so our orders are to wait until then. Therefore, we'll be staying in Toyohara for a while. The reason why we're staying here is because Toyohara is a bigger town and will have better inns. Okay, that's all. We may spend your time as you see fit. Golden free time. So, chapter 204, what she wants to leave behind. So where do you come from? Who is that man? We came over the ocean from the south. That man is my uncle. He has big testicles. They say that their kotan is nearby and they were curious about us. Thanks to the fact that we brought you along, we've been able to get by in Karafuto without arousing suspicion. Since we use that story every time, although now all the Ainu of Karafuto know that my testicles are big. I really think it was a good thing that we didn't send you two back. We did a great job pretending to be a family back in Hokkaido too. I wonder if Yokarama is feeling better. I'm sure she is. Let's go and meet her once we get back. Chikapasi, you're going back? Huh? Hey, so good, look at this. Is it poop? These are tracks from one of the Wolverines you told me about, right, Sugimoto? I never ran into any of them. Yeah, they're faster and more vicious than any brown bear. Let's hunt a Wolverine since we come all the way to Karafuto. You want to be sure and find out what Wolverine brains taste like before you leave, don't you? All brains taste the same, right? Before we go into the mountains, let's light a fire and pray. A container of fire starting tools. So, Kappa Sintoko. A container of charcoal used to light a fire. Inside the container is a karpas, which is made by turning mushrooms into charcoal and breaking them apart. A kasuma is a stone used to start fires. It is struck with a fire striker called a kakani, causing sparks to fall. Once the charcoal catches fire, the lit charcoal is moved onto a piece of white birch bark using a straw-shaped tree root called a shikisani. You're a new Ainu woman, but you always make sure to do these kinds of rituals, don't you? Going to the mountains means you'll face all kinds of dangers. I think that doing something like this has the effect of making us more focused. We have matches now, so we really only use these tools when we go out on a hunt. I wonder how we'll be able to leave behind. I wonder how we'll be able to leave them behind for the future. Go back to Russia. The only child there. That was very interesting just now. Can you show us one more time from the beginning? Who the heck are you showing out of nowhere? We're here to record moving pictures. What's that? It's here! Whoa! What is this thing? Put it off of him. I'll shoot it with a poison arrow. I'm gonna throw it. I stood up there. There's another one coming at you from behind. Jesus Christ. I guess there must be a reference to the there was, because the first documentary ever made was wasn't it a documentary about I can't remember now. Well, the very first unless it's a is it the Méliès brothers? I believe there might be a reference to as well. Is it Méliès? Is it the Méliès? The ones who basically started the whole entirety of like moving pictures, basically. I swear it's the Méliès, isn't it? I might be wrong, but I swear they're called the Méliès. If my film history knowledge is actually anything to go by at this point. Fantastic. Did you manage to film that? Stay back. Its fur is still standing up. It feels like all brains taste the same after all. Aren't you glad you got to eat Wolverine, Sugimoto? Isn't it Hina Hina? So what were you filming anyway? Some Karafuto Anu were allowing us to film them while they hunted, but at some point we ended up getting separated from them somehow. Is that different from taking pictures? This is a recording called a cinematograph. There we go, cinematograph. By taking a large number of pictures in succession, we're able to show the passages of time or the changing states of people in motion. It's able to document much more than a single photograph can. We've been using this cinematograph to record a lot about Ainu culture. A live-action film adaptation confirmed. 204 end. I guess we'll probably find out now if they're actually... Hello! If they actually are reference to... I swear... Oh no, it's not the Méliès, it's Lumiere. That's the one. Who's the Méliès? Or am I thinking of completely different characters? I swear it's Lumiere brothers. My brain is... I swear there's two brothers that do work on films. It's the... Because I know isn't George Méliès? I swear. I might be completely wrong. I'm just trying... My filmic knowledge of like pre like 1930s like out of the window at this point. I completely forgot half of my like film knowledge at this point. So mushroom charcoal. Using mushrooms to start fires has a history that stretches back thousands of years, and the mushroom commonly used for this purpose is foams. Foams? Fermentaris, also called hoof fungus or tinder fungus. It seems that the Ainu of Sakhalin and Hokkaido use this fungus as well. They call it pasuenkas, mushrooms for charcoal. As Isiba showed us, they use a piece of tree root shaped like a straw, partly sucked up the lit charcoal, and then deposited it on a piece of birch bark to use as tinder. So pileo erection, commonly known as goosebumps, this is caused by the contraction of muscles in the skin, which causes the contracted hairs to be pulled erect. It is a common reflex in many mammals and occurs for a number of reasons, including an anger, fear response, or an attempt by animals which, with a fur coat, use the erect hairs trap heat and cause insulation. It can also be used in an attempt to make an animal look larger and intimidate others. Presumably, Sugimoto noticed the Wolverine fur was still standing on the end and realized that this meant it was still ready to attack. Cinematograph. The cinematograph was an old type of film camera invented by the Lumiere brothers in France in the 1890s. As opposed to the earlier kinetoscope, which needed electricity, the cinematograph was operated by being hand cranked. This made it far more portable, and it was used to different people in areas all over the world. The first cinematograph to film the Ainu was made in 1897 by Francois Constant Gurel, a French cameraman who worked for the Lumiere brothers. Gurel, there we go, Gurel, went to Hokkaido and filmed Ainu dances, and it's possible that the new character introduced in this chapter is based off him, although he never went to Sakhalin. Right, I'm gonna quickly go. George Millier. I'm not going nuts. Yes, I'm right. I was like, I swear to God, I'm not going nuts. There's actually a Millier as well. There is George Millier. He's a French director. He made Trip to the Moon. I was gonna say, I'm not going nuts if I remember someone called maybe not Millier brothers. It's just George Millier. I don't know. I can't remember. But Lumiere brothers. There's also wasn't there American brothers as well at some point as well. I must say the part of film history that's like all about like the 1920s post is like a complete blur to me at this point. And I digested it in about 1 week, and I was like, wow, there's actually a lot to take in, and I completely just like it went past my brain slightly. So it's actually been chapter 205, a cinematograph, which I actually remember what tab I'm actually on at this point. There we go. So the reason for the journey and realization. Kyoranke's purpose in taking Nasiripa away to Karafuta was to awaken a memory in her that could be a key to solving the code that leads to the gold. He brought her to meet the female convict Sophia for the same reason. During the blizzard, why did Ogata pull Nasiripa from Kyoranke? And when Kyoranke was about to die, Nasiripa whispered something to him, and he made a relieved face, and I heard him say, "I'm leaving the rest up to you." Nasiripa realized what the key was to solving the code, didn't she? Could it be that Ogata tried to kill her because she had given him the solution to the code and he didn't need her anymore? There's no reason she would have told him. I need to talk to her. Don't interfere. We've got no time left before President Surumi gets here. I'm sure she hasn't met the first lieutenant yet, but I can't imagine she should ever open up to a man like him. It's a terrifying picture, actually. Jesus Christ. The Lumiere company in France, the inventors of the cinematograph, has sent out a great number of cinematograph operators all over the world. An especially large amount of films were recorded in Japan. Japanese culture has become quite popular in France after all. They call it Japonism. Japonisme? Japonisme? Is how you pronounce it correctly? I will quickly Google it. So, French, where are you? There we are. Right, let's have a quick listen. Correct pronunciation for this word. Oh, Japonisme. That's it. Japonisme. There we go. Japonisme. Just thought I'd quickly get the correct translation for it. So, the operator Gurel here came to Japan over 10 years ago, and he has also shown an interest in the Ainu culture. My name is Inabakatsutaro. Producer of moving pictures with promotional rights from the Lumiere company to show them in Japan. How do you watch moving pictures? We shine a bright light from behind and project it onto a cloth. It's normally something we gather customers and charge them money to see, but this time we'll make an exception and let you watch for free. It's also, I swear, is a myth. Like way back when, no one knows if it's actually true or not, but one of the first recorded films was a train moving in and out of a train station, and they showed it to a cafe, and apparently because no one knew what moving pictures were at that point, no one knows if it's actually true or not. It could be a myth. I swear it's actually a myth at this point. But when they showed the moving pictures to the people, they got so scared actually to run out of the cafe because they thought the thing was coming after them. It's actually kind of interesting to think about it. The whole entire history of cinema is actually very interesting. That's one of the like it's one of the things that sometimes you get told, but no one knows if that's actually true or not. I don't believe it is, because I always heard it's actually false, but there's actually possibly a truth to it somewhere. Whoa, they're moving. The pictures are dancing. We came to Karafuta because we heard that there are Ainu here too. Even pictures of the Hokkaido Ainu were well received even at the Lumiere company. Right? Did you film anything else besides the Ainu dances? How about the folk tales? Uka or Ue Peker? We didn't film any folk tales. The device can't record voices, you know. We can't leave behind voices of pictures together then. Let's show the Ainu folk tales in motion and leave them behind as motion pictures. So you're saying we'll perform plays and film that? We did film that kabuki play Momi Jigari, but you want us to film Ainu folk tales? Ainu folk tales have been passed down orally, so wouldn't recording them to phonograph be plenty? Anyway, you don't perform plays in the Ainu culture, right? But still, the stories would be conveyed better as moving images, right? With moving pictures, even people who speak a different language are able to understand our stories. I'm the producer, you know. It's not like I have the time to waste filming something that might not even end up being interesting. I know it's gonna go well. Please leave it to me. Just shut up and do what she says. If a sailor hasn't saved you, you'd be in the Wolverine's belly right now. Do you guys not understand gratitude? First, we're doing the tale of Penape and Penape. Penape means the one downstream, and Penape means the one upstream. There are lots of folk tales about these two. Penape always ends up doing something that makes him rich, and Penape gets jealous and tries to imitate him, but he's scum, so he falls into almost every story. So he fails almost every story. So it's like the story of Kubutori Ji-san. Penape will be played by Sugimoto Saichi. Penape will be played by Shirashi Tatake. Here are the scripts. I wrote down what she told me. We'll now begin filming the moving pictures. Olivia, get ready. Start spinning. One day, Penape opened up a hole in the frozen river and stuck his penis into it. This story got weird really quickly. When he did that, a lot of fish gathered around him. He caught them all and carried a huge load of fish home on his back. And his wife was overjoyed. Hey, stop the film! You're in the middle of the winter, food is scarce, and then out of nowhere you get a huge bounty of food? At a time like that, is that really the face you would make? Since there aren't any voices, you two have to be more expressive with your faces, or the audience won't understand. Got it? You furry actors. You know there are plenty of actors we can replace you with, right? We understand, we're sorry. He was enjoying a fun and happy life when Penape came along and demanded to be told how he was living so well. Penape followed what he was told, went to the river and stuck his penis in, but he got greedy and stayed there all night long, so his penis got frozen in the ice. He couldn't pull it out. His wife took an axe, tried to break the ice, but she ended up cutting off his penis. And Penape died a pitiful death. What the hell is with the story? That house is really in the way. Hey, Inaba, go and ask the owner if we can destroy it. Don't be so absurd. I love his Versailles in the background as well. Sugimoto, should we really be doing this? You don't have any time. I thought I told you not to interfere. Tsukishima, what were you talking about? What are you talking to Sugimoto about? Are you aiming for a female role with more scenes, huh? Get ready for the tale of Penape and Penape Part 2. Start spinning. One day, Penape was standing on the coast and stretching out his penis. Okay, that's just crazy. And so, his penis reached all the way to Matsumae. You're not in... You're in the short Russian. He's kind of adorable. Old Vasali. The woman of Matsumae domain saw it and they thought it would make a good drying pole. They happily hung many high quality kimonos on it. When Penelope pulled his penis back, he ended up with a huge pile of kimonos. As he was living happily, Penelope showed up. He asked why Penelope was so wealthy, so he told him. Then Penelope stood on the coast and stretched out his penis the same way. The wives of all of their main warriors ran out, but he knew that it was a pole that steals kimonos, so they cut it down with a sword. And Penelope died a pitiful death. Does he die at the end of every story? Huh? It's not working. This play isn't working. This can't convey it. What's wrong, Philippa? You're acting strange. We won't be able to leave anything behind like this. We won't be able to convey anything at all. Back to the stories about penises, we tried some serious stories too. You got a point, Sugimoto. We'll do a story about the Kamuy. The next one will be the life of Kesorap. It's a story of 3 brothers. Chikapasi will play the lead role. Good for you, Chikapasi. Ready? Start spinning. I had a big older brother and a small older brother. The 3 of us always went hunting. One day, when we went far away on a hunting trip, we saw a house. Inside the house were 3 girls. We were carrying fish, and we ate all of them together and sang yuka, oral literature recited to a rhythm. That's when a strange man entered the house. My older brother signaled that I should hit the man with a stick. I was using to beat the rhythm for the yuka, and I did. When I did, it turned out that he was a huge bear and had transformed into a man. The only children in that house were female, so nobody was able to hunt for bear meat, so the girls were very grateful. My brothers and I did other things like defeating monsters in the swamp, and as we went a long journey, when we stopped by the house with those girls again, their father asked us to take his daughters away take his daughters as our wives. It became his son, worked hard and lived a happy life. My big older brother revealed that he wasn't a human at all, but actually a bird Kamuy named Kesorap. Oh, I didn't know that, actually. Thank you for telling me about that. I didn't know that, actually. My big brother took off in the form of a beautiful bird and soared high into the sky. Pull him up! He's so heavy! Echigapasi, what are you doing with that blank look on your face? A performance like that won't convey anything. That expression won't convey a single thing to anyone. It's not Chikapasi. In this scene, the main character is a boy without a family. This man took him in, brought him along on a journey, fought evil Kamuy and raised him to be a splendid man, even helped him find a new family. In this scene, you're saying goodbye to that man forever. The tears of that giant bird turned to rain and fell down upon our heads. Tanegaki Nispa. That was great. Did you get that? Any good movie needs to have some falling action. 205 end. Oh boy, so this is going to be a long one. All right. So, oh, damn it. So, Inabata Katsutaro. It seems that I was only half right in last lottery. One of the new characters was indeed based on the fronts were Constant Girel, but Inaba is actually based on another historical figure, Inabata Katsutaro. Inabata lived from 1862 to 1942 and was a businessman and politician involved in a wide variety of fields. He went to Lyon, France, to study dyeing technology, and there he met and befriended Auguste Lumiere. When he about to return to France on a business in 1896, he learned about a cinematograph developed by Lumiere brothers and invested in bringing the cinematograph to Japan. After giving a film exhibition in Osaka, the first paid exhibition in Japan, he went with Grail to film various scenes around Japan. This included the irony dances that were shown in this chapter. Inabata eventually decided to step away from the movie business, and he passed promotional rights to his friend Yokota Ainosuke and Ainosuke's brother. They started the Yokota Shokai film studio, which was active from 1903 until its merger in 1912. So Japanese me. When Japan opened up to the West again in 1853 after its long isolation, Japanese art reached European cities in mass quantities. This had a major influence on many artists at the time and caused a craze for Japanese art and design that was given a name Japonisme by the French art critic Philippe Berti in 1872. So Yuka and Uwe Peker. These are two different types of Ainu oral literature. From what I can tell, the difference is that Yuka are epic poems dealing with adventures, heroes, and kamui sung along to a melody. On the other hand, Uwe Peker are prose stories that's told in something close to normal speech, and they often deal with events that were said to have actually happened in the past. However, there are also some Uwe Peker that were more like fantastical folktales. For instance, the stories of Panape and Penelope are Uwe Peker. So, Momijigari, which translates to Maple Leaf Viewing, was originally a no play written during the Muromachi era. It was then adapted into a kabuki play. The play was filmed in 1899, and this became the first motion picture to be made in Japan, or at least the first one with surviving prints. It should be noted that it was actually shot with a Gaumont character instead of a cinematograph. So, phonograph, invented by Thomas Edison in 1877, this was the first device that could record or produce sound. So, Kobatori Jisun. This is a traditional Japanese folk tale which translates to the old man who removed his lump. This is a story about a nice old man who had a huge lump on his face that he was unable to remove. He was able to remove it with the help of some oni, but his selfish neighbor attempted to imitate him ends up in failure. Matsumae, a domain on the southern tip of Hokkaido, founded in 1590. This was the only domain in Hokkaido charged with defeating the rest of Japan from the Ainu to the north. Defending the rest of Japan from the Ainu to the north. So, Kesarap. This is a Kamuy in Ainu folklore that takes the form of a giant bird. Although it helps people in many stories, there are also stories in which it does harm to people. There seems to be several stories similar to that in this chapter, all about a young boy who is raised by an older brother who turns out to actually be a Kesarap. So, falling action. This was my best attempt to translate the original Japanese pun. The original Japanese joke was that every movie needs a punchline. In Japanese, a punchline is called ochi, which can also be read as a fall. And there we go. That is chapter 205. So we're on to chapter 206 now. We're on the Golden Kamuy movie now, boys. Season 3 got announced, now we're on the movie. I love how Koito's so adorable in the corner as well. So, Golden Kamuy the movie. So, we were able to rent out this theatre to show the film. We had to thank the second lieutenant Koito. Chapter 206, distance between the two of them. The rich sure do things differently, huh? Oh dear, you can actually see my testicles. Look out. That's amazing. Huh? Is this one of the ones that we just filmed? No. That's not a Karafuto Ainu house, right? When Gurel was filming the young lady here, something piqued his interest. He said that he wants her to see this film. Is this something we filmed 10 years ago in Otaru? That's my kotan. Aka! That man's deep blue eyes left quite an impression. Huh? That's Wilk. So that's what Wilk used to look like. And that woman next to him is... Gurel was saying that she looked just like you. She was cheerful and bright, like a clear sunny day. That's what Aka said. She looks like a pretty wonderful person to me. Your father was an Ainu from Karafuto, so he said that he was going to join the Japanese family registry in order to get married. I joked with him and said that he'd better not, because the army would call on him to fight if there was another war. then there was a war with Russia. Did you take part in that? Oh man. Everybody run. Grill, don't let it spread to the other pictures. The light source cinematograph was a spark discharge light called an arc lamp. On top of this, the film was made with nitrocellulose, an ingredient in gunpowder, so fires were frequent occurrence. For this reason, a large number of historical films have been lost. There's a sit-upper. A sit-upper! Are you alright? Moving pictures are wonderful technology, but for the eye living right here and now, it's still not sufficient to pass everything down. I was able to see my mother's face for the first time, but I don't have any memories of that scene. The memories of my mother that Aka told me left a far stronger impression. I felt everything about her, even down to the warmth of her body heat. It really does seem like we needed to feel a sense of their value and importance, or we won't leave anything behind. Golden Kamuy showed me that lives lived by many different ethnic groups. There were so many things I never would have known if I stayed in Hokkaido. That was the purpose of our journey across Karafuto. It is true what Golden Kamuy and Aka said, that I need to fight for what I want to protect. But you don't have to be the one fighting, right? So, once we find the god, I should go back to Otaru, and just like I did before I met you, I should live my life chasing after bears and deer, and saying Hina Hina. Is that what you're saying? Kyodanka gave his life to convey it to me. I can't act like it has nothing to do with me. But you don't have to be a part of that fight. Sugimoto, you're not saying this for my sake. Because you want to save yourself, right? Within me, you're seeing someone like yourself back in the days when you were eating persimmons. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing, isn't it? True, that is a part of it. Right before Wilt was shot at Abashiri prison, he said something that I haven't told you. He said that he raised you so you could fight in a war. That's what he told me. Wilt forcibly pulled you into this battle over the gold that you knew nothing about. Kyodanka too. He brought you to Karafuto, and he gave his own life so that you would be pushed into believing that I've got to fight for what I want to protect. Is the only option left to you? I can't forgive that. Stand at the head of the Ainu. Stand at the head of the Ainu and die. Fight and kill people. That's what they're telling you. Don't you know? I'm not a father, and maybe as a warrior and a parent, there's a special kind of responsibility you're supposed to take. But is that really what you want to do, Asinapa? You said before that if you kill people, you go to that what's its name? That hell, right? You're not a deeply religious person, Asinapa. So how do you interpret that? The guy who thought up at the idea of hell, maybe it was someone like me, a guy who had killed a whole lot of people, and it was in agony because he couldn't return to his old self. You've been fortunate enough to get this far without learning that, Sinapa. Sinapa, I want you to quit this battle over the gold. Once you've learned that, it will be too late. Killing people sends you to hell, and I guess they're all rolling out the red carpet for me. 26 end. Man. So, arc lamp. The arc lamp, which produces light using an arc discharge between two carbon electrodes, was the first practical electric light and started to be used on street lights in the 1870s. The first arc lamp street light in Japan was installed in 1882 in the Ginza district of Tokyo. Although arc lamps began to be phased out and the use of street lights in the 1910s, they were still used when particularly bright lights were required, such as in searchlights of film projectors. However, as mentioned in this chapter, the potential for fires was very great due to sparks and heat let off by the arc lamp. Fame registry, the Koseki. This is a system that existed in some form in Japan over a thousand years. But the comprehensive modern version of the fame registry began in 1872. At the time when the Hokkaido Ainu were forcibly added to the registry, which meant they were considered to be officially Japanese and needed to have Japanese names. For instance, Asunapa's name being Asuka in the registry. To marry Asunapa's mother, Wilk would have to register into the system itself, or himself. Satenya Ponkna Mosia. This is the name of the Ainu to hell that Sugimoto is referring to. First mentioned back in chapter 2. The tagline at the end of the chapter is a repeat of the line that Sugimoto thought to himself in that same chapter. So below is a painting of the first arc lamp streetlight in Japan. Above is a reconstruction of that streetlight, which stands in Ginza now, as a commemoration of the historic first. And there we go. That was chapter 206. So we're on to the final chapter now. Oh! The boy returns. The boy returns. So Nobori Betsu. So everyone's focused on the skin. Only Usami is focused on Surumi. So chapter 207, the moon they saw from the trenches. It's amazing to think that he pretended to be an Unma so he could try and keep track of our movements. The man this skin belongs to was certainly not lacking guts. Ariko said that something about the pattern of the tattoo got his attention. The pattern resembled the arm tattoos that my grandmother and others in her generation had, so I thought it might bear some kind of relation to the code. Oh. In the past, Ainu women used to tattoo places like their arms and mouths. This was done both as an element of beauty and to show that the woman was mature. In some regions, there were also records showing that customs of tattooing continued even into the Taisho era. Are these all the skins in your possession, sir? That's right. I have to say, though, Ariko, you did excellent work in finding a body buried in the middle of an avalanche. No, sir, I was simply lucky. One of his legs happened to be sticking out of the snow. If you had been unlucky, come spring, that coda tattoo would have become fertilizer for the wild plants, or perhaps some wild dogs would have dug out the body and made a mill of it. When you think about it, if even a single skin is missing, there's a chance that the golden light might never be discovered by anyone. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? How about it, Ariko? Is there some relation to the Ainu tattoos? Ainu arm tattoos vary depending on the region they come from. I thought that those regional differences might point to the area where the gold is hidden, but with our current tattoos, I can't recognize anything. I'm very sorry, sir. I see. All the same, you shared quite an interesting point of view with us. Ariko, the moon is the same. What about the moon, sir? During the Battle of Mukden, when our trenches were bombed, nobody found us in there. So you and I spent the whole night calling out to each other, making sure that each of us is still alive. In that pitch black, all we could see was the narrow silver of the moon. The moon is the only thing that hasn't changed since then. Something in the background. I just realised. The next night, Mosu, I'm heading back to my room. Please watch your step, Lord Koito. After all, tonight is a new moon. Where are you? Come on. Did you steal them? Yeah, stop. What the fuck? What? Yeah, I stole them, all of them. What the fuck? What? No, no way. There are footprints over here. Hurry, don't let them get away. On the right side is a vertical rock wall that's about 3 jo tall. It continues on for at least 10 ken. On the left side there's a large round boulder with 2 humps on the top. It's about 1 jo tall. If we keep going this way, the cliffs on either side are going to move closer and closer until we eventually reach a dead end. So let's go back a little bit and climb up, following the cliff on the right. We get over the mountain that way. There's a fallen tree, so watch out. This one of blood is awful. We still got a long way to go. Are you gonna be okay? Yeah. Several hours ago. Or Sue. It's Makiri. What's it doing here? Setsurumi was the one who recovered this item from the murder scene at Tomakomai, the ones left behind by the dead men. You didn't know that, right? There were 7 Ainu killed by Noporobu, and your father was one of them. The President had already looked into that. It's too bad you've forgotten the moon we saw from the trenches. Erika, the tattooed skin that you bought us didn't come from that blind convict, Tony Anji. We already had an understanding of the contents of Tony Anji's tattoo, but it seems that even Hichikata Toshizo didn't realize that much, did he? Hichikata Toshizo incited you into doing it, didn't he? He told you to carry on your father's will or something like that. Oh shit! Oh shit! There's no going back now. You chose the worst possible path. Turn 7 end. Traitors can't forgive traitors. Oh shit! He does actually. Holy shit! What a goddamn twist! That's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for a twist like that for a long while. I was waiting. I need my I need my Noda twist. I need my Noda twist. And there we go. We got it. Oh man, that was good. That was good. So tattoos and the Taisho era. The Taisho era lasted from 1912 to 1926. It should be noted that the practice of tattooing among the Ainu was banned by the Japanese government in 1871, early in the Meiji era. And though this ban was evaded by many Ainu, it likely was a contributing factor to the decline of Ainu tattooing. The Kitami Tokachi, Hidaka, Iburi regions. In order to make the regions a little easier to understand, I've used maps to show the Kitami, Tokachi, Hidaka, and Iburi provinces that were established by the Japanese government in 1869 after the Boshin War. These areas mostly corresponded to the modern sub-prefectures and sub-prefectural bureaus of Hokkaido, except for the Kitami, which was changed to Abashiri, is now known as Okoshok sub-prefecture. Battle of Mukden. As we mentioned before, this was the last major land battle of the Russo-Japanese War. It was fought from February to March of 1905. Joe and Ken. These are 2 of the old units of measurements formerly used in Japan. These old measurements began to slowly phase out during the 20th century, although some of them are still used in some context. A Joe is equal to a little over 3 meters. A Ken is a little under 2 meters. I've seen those used before actually. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I've seen Joe and Ken used somewhere before. I can't remember where I've seen it. I swear I've read it somewhere else. Besides in Golden Kamuy, I swear I've read it somewhere else. And there we go. That was the catch up of Golden Kamuy. Holy shit! Noda was like, boys, you get yourself a little bit of a break here, but here we go, lads. We're back. I was like, oh. I guess Enrico just kind of ran. He was just like, I'm getting out of here, boys. Holy shit, though. That was actually a good twist. I always suspected something with one of them. I was like, there has to be something with Rico and the other guy as well. There has to be something with the 2 of them, because you can't tell me Noda establishes 2 characters out of nowhere and you can't think to yourself, well, there's got to be something with these 2. You can't think to yourself, there has to be something here. And then by God, there was something, because we still really haven't seen Hichikata since what, the end of the Oshiri arc. So we're still kind of a little bit up in air about what's going on with him, but at least we actually got some confirmation that he's still doing something. And now we got the whole entire thing of there's actually kind of traitors in the 7th Division, which actually then kind of makes me wonder what else could have actually happened. What actually could have happened as well. So yeah, it's interesting that also there's actually a history with Ariko's father as well. It actually has a lot more like kind of drama to the whole entire thing. Yeah, I like the film arc actually quite a bit because there's actually a nice little history in the whole on film itself. But yeah, it's really nice actually kind of have like the twists back because it's just so goddamn cool. And now we kind of got the whole entire idea that what's Surumi gonna do because we actually haven't seen unhinged Surumi in like what shit a long while actually. Like, I haven't seen unhinged him in a very long while. So actually, I might be interested to see him unhinged for a long while now, and see where the whole entire thing goes with him because we don't know what's gonna happen to Ariko now. Because Ariko might in theory defect away from Seventh Division. Actually, might in theory join somewhere else, or kind of also then go back to Hichigata. We just don't know. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what's gonna happen with the Edo guy skins as well. To be honest, because every single turn someone loses a lot of skins and it kind of makes the whole entire thing then change the paradigm shift between the force of the force of strength within the actual kind of groups because in theory for the longest while Surumi's actually kind of had like the top echelon of strength in the kind of paradigm shifts of characters, but now it's kind of been shifted away from him slightly, so it actually makes me wonder what's going to happen with him now. So it might be in theory kind of see a little bit more of an aggressive side of Surumi. Who knows, might be interesting. But yeah, I did actually kind of like a lot of what Asudapa was actually saying about like the preservation of her culture. It's actually kind of interesting because it's one of those things that it's a major kind of concept. It's the idea of preserving what is otherwise now not being able to preserve so well. Like same thing happens with a lot of like this. They explain it with films. Like a lot of films have been lost in time because the fact is film's very delicate. Like in essence, if I remember correctly, there's no complete copy of Metropolis in existence. Like there's always every single version of Metropolis that comes out is a more complete version of it, but every single version lacks something that's actually from the original film negative. So it's a very interesting concept because it's actually kind of true. Her culture is a very kind of fascinating culture, and she would actually want it to be preserved for future generations because word of mouth doesn't really convey one sense of feeling, but being able to actually kind of see emotion might in theory then convey a different side of that feeling. But in essence, it's actually still kind of interesting in the end that she actually says, look, being able to speak to one another about it is actually kind of the better way to do it because you get that essence of feeling from it, and it's actually kind of true because word of mouth does in theory kind of have that. Granted, in theory, that then lends itself to actually kind of then be maybe manipulated a little bit to actually kind of be changed as time goes on. So those things that possibly maybe it being filmed allows us to actually kind of see the culture for when it is at that very one point, so the future generations don't see a different side of it that isn't actually kind of the most 100% accurate kind of side of it all. But yeah, it's very interesting. I actually kind of like that because it's actually kind of it's a concept that's actually kind of come to fruition nowadays as well, the whole thing about gaming, like with a lot of NES games and stuff like that, and also arcade games as well, because arcade cabinets are dying a lot, so arcade games like the Capcom CPS games, like the old on rails games are getting lost because they can't preserve them. So then it's one of those things that they have to find a way to do it. It's always been a very interesting concept. And I also kind of found it more interesting. It's actually about culture, and also it's actually kind of interesting the whole thing. Which you get to see an advancement on the whole thing with Sugimoto's actual kind of motivation for Asudapa as well. Because you can tell that he just wants her to live a life away from fighting. He just wants her to actually have a normal life. He knows that his hands are bloody with blood. Hands are dirty with blood. So if anything has to happen, he will do it. Because the same thing happened with Ogata back in the Russia arc. In essence, he didn't allow Ogata to die by the hands of Asudapa because that improved Ogata's actual kind of philosophy. And actually, then he wasn't allowed to happen. So he thought to himself, okay, what if I save him and then I kill him via my hands? And that's what he kind of technically is going to do. That's actually the whole entire motivation with his character. That Ogata will die possibly maybe by the hands of Sugimoto rather than Asudapa, even though we know that Ogata wants to be by Sudapa's hands because then it actually kind of proves his philosophy true. But the same thing applies in this chapter chapter beforehand as well. Like he just wants her to actually kind of live that normal life, and in essence, he wants her to realize what they are doing to her. Because in theory, when you think about it, it's kind of true. Like in essence, what they've actually done is kind of put her into this battlefield kind of firsthand. like, they're telling her, look, you have to kind of fight and protect what you want. Actually, kind of then for future generations, it can actually live on, which actually might be a genuine kind of concept. It's actually kind of one of those things. They just want that concept to live on forever. But the way they do it, as we established beforehand, the same thing with Wilk and Kyoranka, is the fact that the way they go about it isn't the correct way of doing things, because it actually sullies the hands of the innocent, and possibly in doing so, killing people in the process. It's one of those things that possibly maybe the way they kind of go about doing things isn't the best way of doing it. And Sugimoto wants her to realise that. Like, just wants her to go, look, you can't keep doing this, because if you do this, your hands will be sullied by blood. And I don't want you to live that life, because you go to that place you just don't want to go to. So it's kind of fascinating in a way, because you get to see that side of Sugimoto that really does in theory kind of bring out what Wilk should have been. Like, in essence, that kind of father. Like, in essence, Sugimoto actually kind of takes on that father role. Even he says he doesn't actually kind of have that father role, but in theory he does. He's very much a father figure to her in a different way. See, that's the problem. I think the problem also with Sugimoto's actual kind of motivation is the fact that possibly he might be too heavy-handed with it. In essence, at one point she breaks and goes, "I'm gonna do my own thing now," and that actually might in theory kind of be the litmus test in a way. Like, in essence, that she might completely change, and actually that completely just kind of 180s the whole entire plot, and then actually she bloodies her hands, and actually kind of then proves Ogata's philosophy true. It's one of those things. That's the problem. It's this whole entire idea that you can tell what Sugimoto's trying to do, but the fact is possibly her wanting to kind of see to fruition the motivation her father had might free then kind of overshadow her and actually kind of then change her completely. We just don't know, because it's too early in the manga to actually tell what her character might in free do. Granted, it's very scary to actually think what could possibly happen, because let's face it, you don't want her to kind of go down that route, because we know the actual implications behind it. But it's that whole entire idea of whether or not she will keep the thing alive. Though the other thing, we don't know what Sophia's gonna do as well. Sophia might in theory just kind of come back out of nowhere and cause a massive ruckus as well. That's the thing. We just don't know. And actually, then it might then 180 the whole entire thing again. Actually, then kind of put a massive damper on the actual experience, and then also change the setup at the exact same time. We don't know. She actually might in theory change the setup and actually kind of then join her. We don't know. That's the thing. There's a whole lot working against Sugimoto at this point, which actually is kind of depressing, because you can tell what he's trying to do. He's being a genuine person. He's being the person Wilk should have been. But the problem is, there's a lot of forces working against Sugimoto at this point that actually might in theory kind of sully the whole entire thing with his character, the kind of genuine personification he actually doesn't free have. That's the problem at this point. He's got a lot against him. But we don't know what's going to happen. Ogata might in theory come back, kill someone as well, and actually then it changes Asidapa's actual kind of motivation as well. Like, in essence, we don't know, he might kill someone close to Asidapa, and then she might then kill him. That's the thing as well. There has to be a test at one point in this manga that completely alters her entire character. We don't know what it's going to be, but it has to be later on, because it's alluding to it quite a lot. This whole entire chapter kind of alluded to it quite often, well, chapter beforehand really, alluded to it quite a bit. The fact is that there might in theory be a test later on to his manga, and I guess Ogata might be the person to do it, because he seems as if he's going to be. If that happens, I'll be really depressed, because it's actually kind of like Ogata's teetering on the arsehole territory of character motivation. Like, he's like, okay, Ogata, you probably just lost your mind for a bit. It's okay, we understand. But then if he actually doesn't free kill someone close to Asidapa, then you're like, Ogata, why? It's just one of those things. You then can't really excuse his actions at that point. You're just kind of like, Ogata, you're kind of a dick at this point. Like, it's just one of those things, but I don't know. I kind of fear him at this point. That's the problem. I fear his actual entire character motivation, because it's going to come back at some point in this manga. I'm just like, please don't. He's gone away for a little while. I'm just kind of like, just come back and like where you were before the Abashiri arc. That was okay. That part of Ogata was okay. But after that point, I just don't know. I'm scared. And also Rush Arc kind of proved that I'm even more scared of him at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see what this whole entire manga actually goes at this point, especially now with Riko kind of also breaking character as well. I should see what's going to happen there, and what it actually doesn't free me for Tsurumi. But yeah, I'm actually finally caught up with Golden Kamuy. It's actually been a wild ride, actually. These chapters were wild, actually, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I believe chapter 208 might come out this week, I believe. So I have to wait and see what happens at 208 because, oh, it's got interesting again. You know, it's interesting beforehand, but even more so now. Right, so that is me done for today. So as always, if you have enjoyed this whole entire as a whole on Twitch, then do leave a follow on Twitch because indeed there's something quite a bit. If you have enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to leave a like, then do leave a like because indeed there's something quite a bit. If you have enjoyed it here on YouTube and you do want to stay a bit longer, then do indeed leave a sub because indeed there's something quite a bit. If you have enjoyed it here on YouTube and you want to stay a bit longer after the whole entire point, then do free follow me on Twitter or join Discord as well. Both will tell you streams are live streams I do as well. Until next time, chapter 208 of Golden Kamuy. I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.